and we are here to talk some of it. Welcome to Focus on Liberia. This is FOL Special, and it is our pleasure welcoming you to this broadcast. I am Anthony Sear along with Mr. Dennis Jar, and we have a topic for you, and that is the Zwedru incident involving Yekeh Kolubah and Elizana Cummings of the ANC. We want to go into this. There are a lot of things that have been said after this incident happened, and we are here to find out what happened, who said what, and why. The reaction from all those and some analysis also will be provided. In the house, we have Joseph Jackson and Danaja will introduce our special female guest that we have here today, and you don't want to miss the broadcast. Mr. Ja.
Thank you, Mr. CA. I want to welcome all our viewers from across the globe. This is Focus on Liberia. Our topic tonight, we're going to be discussing what transpired in the southeastern part of the country, that is Zwedru in Grand Jida County, involving the CPP, political leaders, and also some residents of Zwedru. We've also discussed this, has been introduced already. We have Mr. Joseph Jackson, that's a former chairman of CDC USA. Mr. Jackson, welcome to Focus on Liberia.
Thank you for the opportunity, Focus on Liberia, to come on the show today to discuss issues pertaining to our country, Liberia. Thank you.
Next, we have the former president of the River G County Association in the Americas. That's River G was formerly part of Grand Jida County. We have Mrs. Alice Wele Momba. Alice, welcome to Focus on Liberia.
Thank you very much. It is a pleasure having me here.
Great. And our viewers from across the globe, we say, please share this video. We are going to be delving into it right away. What happened in Grand Jida, or who did what, why, what can we learn from this? Why did this happen? And if we're going to have a recurrence, and we're going to have some reactions from some political top dogs in the country. So to get this started, and who can introduce this better than FOL political bulldog, Mr. Anthony Sear. Mr. Sear, let's start by saying what happened. What are we hearing?
Mr. Dennis, yeah, something happened, and I think you heard me. We're going to talk some because it happened. And that's what we do in this business, to bring the people together to talk about the issues that matter. And this time, it happens in Southeast. To be specific, in Zwedru. The ANC political leader, along with Yekeh Kolubah, as we all know, have been on a nation tour. They visited other counties, but when they got to Grand Jida, something happened, and we want to know what happened. Hey, we have a politician here also. His name is Joseph Jackson. Mr. Jackson, the incident, many of us saw the video. What did you see? Who all were involved? And what all was said?
Well, I usually do my regular routine in the morning. I wake up between 2:30 to 3 o'clock to just peruse all the news media on some of the issues that I was not able to capture the day before. While in the process, I click on Front Page Africa, and I saw disturbing headlines that brought tears down my eyes. And I said, wow, why is it Grand Jida again? That was what came to my mind. Why Grand Jida again? And while I was in that process, Ashford Gali, who happens to be a friend of mine, to have a talk show, immediately came on. He had an emergency talk show this morning, and he sent me the link. The link popped up on my phone, and I clicked to open up. He was going live with some officials from Grand Jida, and they were explaining the situation, what occurred over there. But I'm here to say this: what happened today like something that every decent Liberians need to condemn. It is unacceptable in our country after 14 years of civil war in our country. Many of us were affected directly, some indirectly. We have forgiven all those who committed those atrocities against us, but we have not forgotten about the incident. And to see a county that was heavily involved into that crisis that killed over 250,000 people, it was just unbelievable for me. You know, regardless of the differences between Yekeh Kolubah and President Weah, what the Grandidians, or those I will call them thugs, did today should have considered that, number one, this man is a sitting representative of Mosurado County. That's one. Two, we also had a standard bearer of a political party in that county. And as we all know, that this time of the year, all the political parties are having their primary. And the CPP went around all the other counties in the southeastern part of Liberia, where they went to support their candidate in the primary, and they never had no issue, only to come to Granjide and see what went on today. I think it was very, very unprofessional. And the superintendent, if I were to have the power today, I think he should have been suspended by now.
Thank you. And let's come to you, Ms. Mohammed. What all did you pick up? You know, who all were involved, and what went through your mind when you first processed this news, given what happened?
So this morning, usually I'm up by 4 a.m. every day, and I was checking my messages and checking whatever going on around the country, USA and Liberia, respectively. And I saw this video of people acting. I can't describe it. It reminded me of the war that ended. I couldn't imagine that in a country where we have a democratically elected government, a country where we have been enjoying peace for the past few years, for people to still behave like that, that was something I couldn't really process. I saw the video where tear gas was fired to disperse a crowd of people that wanted to probably commit crimes. Here you have somebody, chairman of the CPP, a major political party in Liberia, and you have a sitting lawmaker in a county, and you have people taking stones to stone the guest of their county. That was really, really terrible. And I think everybody should condemn this. I also think by this time, the superintendent should have been fired by this time. Why are we talking about him now? A new superintendent is supposed to be taking that office because it shows that he cannot handle the county. Because political season is coming, people are going to be running elections, and to see what happened today is something they have to look at seriously.
All right, folks in cyberspace, you are watching Focus on Liberia. This is FOL Special, that is Focus on Liberia Special, and we are looking into the incident that happened in Zwedru, Granjide County. Folks, let me bring you up to speed. Many of you follow this story, so you know. Jackson captured it. Mistress Mama captured it. Two political leaders, Yekeh Kolubah and Elizana B. Cummings, have been traveling in the southeast. But when they got to Granjide, this time, instead of them being welcomed by most of the residents in that part of the southeast in Zwedru, there were some citizens in the county, Granjide County, or in Zwedru, who, for political reason, decided that Yekeh Kolubah should leave Grand Judah. They don't want to see him in Grand Judah. And from what they said, from most of the young people we saw who were like protesting, they said they didn't want to see Yekeh Kolubah because Yekeh Kolubah has been very disrespectful, has been insulting the president of the Republic of Liberia. And so they decided to take matters into their own hands by asking Yekeh Kolubah to leave that soil, to leave that part of our country, Grand Judah, especially Zwedru. And that was the main reason they disagree with Yekeh, tune his language against the president and the CDC. That was the basis for which they wanted him out of their city, of their county. And so let me bring my partner Dennis Jar in. Dennis Jar, you've been around a little bit. You think those young men, those guys, those people who acted in that manner, who wanted to see Yekeh out, you think they have some good reason to do so? Or was Yekeh constitutional right being violated there? I can't hear you. You're on mute, Dennis.
Anytime we have an incident like that, it means we are shutting down genuine reason people have to engage one another through politics, because Mr. Kolubah and Mr. Cummings were in the place for political reason. They went to talk to their partisans, right?
Yeah.
So it is obvious that people disagree with them, that there are people on the other side of the political aisle. But when you start to throw stones, what you're doing is you don't even want to engage. So that in itself is completely unacceptable, and it is not something that we want to encourage. You can talk to the person. That's politics. That's why you are there. If the man is there to get votes, so put on your pants and go against him politically. But when you start to throw stones, when you say get out of our county, then you are treading on a very dangerous ground. But let me note that we are also quick to describe or to categorize people involved. If people are involved in throwing stones in any form of violence or vandalism, those people are thugs, right? Do not associate them with any ethnic group, with any county, with any city. Those people should be identified and arrested, or they're being processed through the law. But if people are quick to call them Grandidians, maybe they are not, or maybe they are, we don't know. But we need to identify those kind of people and bring them to justice. I think that's number one. But what we saw is terrifying, is wrong. It shouldn't be seen anywhere in the county, in the country, for any reason whatsoever.
All right, let's come back to you, Joe. At the end of the day, it was handled, and we can go into the nitty-gritty of how it was handled, all right? And Yekeh and Alexander Cummings left Grand Judah unharmed, but the kind of violence that we saw was terrifying for them. I don't think in any way our fellow citizens should be treated in that manner, that we should instill fear in them in that manner because of political reason. So earlier you said you would like to see the superintendent, not being on the job. Is it because as a superintendent, he didn't do what he's supposed to do to provide security and handle the issue responsibly? Is that your reason?
Yeah, before I get to that question, let me, I should have injected this in my earlier opening statement. Let me extend my thanks and appreciation to the Legislative Caucus of Grand Judah for stepping up immediately to calm the situation. I think they did a better job than the superintendent. Yes, the superintendent did not do a good job. And I think that this was premeditated. This is something that he orchestrated. It was something that he planned. It's something that he knew about, because he knew that Alexander Cummings and Yekeh Kolubah and their entourage were going into Grand Jira County to meet with the party officials. If you listen to him, he said that he wasn't informed or notified for their arrival into Grand Jira County. And I think that was a very poor excuse from him. And I think for me, I think that should have been one of the grounds for which he should have been removed or suspended, for the fact that Grand Jira is part of Liberia. I do not need no permission from anybody in Grand Jira to go into Grand Jira. Okay? Right. So the superintendent is telling me now that whenever he wants to go to Monrovia, he will have to seek permission from either Riverses, Grand Bassa, Magibi, or what's it called, Nimba and Bomb. Is that what he's telling me? You know, look, we got to be responsible here. And one of the things that bring all these tension in the country, you know, the people that we hire to the kind of position, the man Carl Farley, we all know who this man is. A former rebel commander, a man who kills people in our country. And today, he's representing the president. In America, we call him the what do you call it? The major. Mm-hmm. He is the major. That's not a small position. Governor. The governor, rather. The governor. Yeah. Thank you. Mm-hmm. The governor. That is the man that represents the president in that county. You understand me? And to behave the way he behaved today, I think it was unacceptable. And to my brother Ja said something that I want to disagree with him. Mm-hmm. Yes, why it is true that before the Civil War, my older sister was married to a fellow from Grand Jira by the name of Samuel. He was in the military at the time. I mean, nice guy. That's why I started to like the Grand Jirians. You know, I mean, Samson would come to the house. At the time, we were later coming up in the early 80s, and he would bring a lot of stuff for us. You know, the Grand Jirians are very nice people. I will vouch for that. You understand me? But to your question or your statement, Mr. Ja, if you have 2 kids in your house, and I took 4 other kids and bring them in your house, if something went wrong in your house and the police get in there, or anybody comes in and see about 6 different kids, they will classify or consider the children to be your children. So yes, those people that what do you call it? Those talks, I will call them, that misbehave today are Grand Jirians. They didn't come from Monrovia. They didn't come from Grand Bassa County. They didn't come from Nimba County. You understand me? They are Grand Jirians that was put together by the superintendent of that county, the former rebel leader, a man who killed people. And today he representing people. I want the guys think that we are forgetting about what they did to us in our country. We forgive them, but we are not forgetting about it. And let them now wake up the old wounds, because some of us got scarred on us for things that they did to us in our country.
Thank you.
But because we have let go of the past, you know, we want to move on. Yeah, you understand me?
Yeah. Thank you. We'll come back to you, Joe. Let me come to Mistress Momba. Sorry, Mistress Momba. You just listening to Joe making a reference. Say again.
I said, before you go there, I just want to say I'm fine with your disagreement, Joe. Let's go to Alice, and I even have some disagreement right here on the phone, but we'll come to that. Mm-hmm. And I will say why I think.
Yeah, I was just coming to Mistress Momba.
Yeah, go ahead. I just wanted to clarify.
Yeah, I was coming to Mr. Momba to say you just listening to your fellow panelists questioning the integrity of the superintendent of that county, and even making it clear that he was appointed by the president. So my first question, does the appointment of this man giving a pass say more about the individual himself and less about the president, or vice versa? Keep that one. And up to this point, something this major that brings by the ugly memories that are haunting us today psychologically, the president is yet to speak about it. What will you have to say to to Liberian listening to you, and maybe the president, for his silence. This is major.
Yeah. Something of this magnitude, when it happens, you expect the president of the Republic of Liberia to make a statement. What much more do we expect somebody to die before the president can say something? The behavior that was displayed today, it was something that could have caused a loss of life. But again, when you look at the whole problem of Liberia, people that are already traumatized, they put them in major positions. And so when they do things, well, as human beings, we're supposed to be surprised. But basically, really, we're not supposed to be surprised, because those are the attitude of people that fought 14 years of war, people that were giving guns when they were kids, and they grow up with no rehabilitation, no school, no education of any kind. I mean, this is what we expect. You go on the internet, it's verbal violence. So from verbal violence, it's going to go to physical violence. And if the person who heading the nation cannot frown on something like that, cannot frown on the superintendent, maybe he tried to give him a second chance, knowing his past, say, well, maybe people change over time. Let's give him the position. But now he's in a position, see what he did. See what he allowed. So based on that, he should have come out to dismiss the man. I'm not talking about suspending the man. He's supposed to be dismissed, because this is a major political party chairperson and a sitting lawmaker, regardless of what he said about the president or what he didn't say. I have watched him most of the time, verbally he says stuff, but he has never taken something physically like a rock and want to hit the president with it. So we shouldn't really be going to physical violence. Then it is something to really concern people, because we are heading in a wrong direction. We could have headed to a wrong direction by this time if Yekeh Kolubah or the CPC chairperson were harmed. Other Liberians supporting the poor would have been ungranted, and now it would have been a physical war. So something like this, action supposed to be taken so that it will not be repeated. That's the purpose for which we are requesting that the superintendent should be dismissed from his position.
And Dennis, if I may, the blame has been placed squarely at the president. I'm quoting Darius Dillon here. He said the president is not speaking to it because he authorized it. You cannot speak to what you authorized. Yekeh Kolubah has accused Zoe Penno of being part of the individuals who orchestrated this. Elizana Cummings also said he is alleging that this was planned by people in the ranks and file of the government. And that's why it happened. And that's the reason up to this point, there has not been an official statement from the government, neither the party or the president. Are you tempted to believe those accusations by those few individuals? And why?
I believe that that's always the wrong approach to take in every situation. And this is not isolated. Mm-hmm. I believe that when people are responsible for criminal behavior, mm-hmm. those people should be caught and brought to justice. Mm-hmm. The wrong thing we always do as Liberians is to excuse perpetrator of violence, those who physically take part in actions of vandalism should be brought to justice. We excuse them. We don't even mad at them, but we go behind them and say, well, this person orchestrated it. I listened to Mr. Cummings talking about who orchestrated it or who is behind it. And I think the emphasis is placed more on those behind it than those who were caught in the act.
Maybe because that's the source of the conflict. What do you think?
Because piece of history. No, if you without any form of investigation and you are always saying who behind it, that's a wrong way to go about things. Some time ago, there were some, I think in Nimba County, They call them Nimba youth, and I always hate those kind of characterization. There was, I think, a company, and they blocked the road, and they started to throw stones. They vandalized the company premises because they were making some demands. And what was reported in the paper was Nimba youth. And anytime we do that, what we are doing is we are excusing the actual perpetrators and putting a big label on them. So what happens? Everybody from Nimba who wants to identify with Nimba will go behind that ban. So those criminals will not be caught because we are looking at Nimba. Who is behind them? Who sent them? I believe.
And how will you describe any group or individual that will be involved in such act? The Grand Gila and the Nimba situation you're talking about.
I would define the group, whatever name they call themselves, because they are not representing Nimba. They are not representing Grand Gila. They are not representing. Those are thugs. Send police, grab the physical people engaged in that and put them in jail. If they go and say, well, this is the person who sent me, that different thing else.
And when the authority responsible to hold these thugs accountable are not
grab the
acting,
thug first. That's the first
step. Tell
step.
you that they know about it, and so they don't want to arrest the very individual they have given instruction.
That's secondary, right? The first action we should take is against the people that are carrying on this violence.
Okay.
9 out of 10, we never caught them because we always find who's responsible. We never go to the people. And I'll give you another example. The trial of Grady Allison, Norman days. They said, well, somebody went and killed a man called Manvan Pine. Grady Allison was telling them, the late Grady Allison was telling them, well, why? And they said, well, Grady Allison is responsible because he wants to be president. And so he sent Manvan Pine he sent this guy to kill Manvan Pine and give him the blood. You see that? I'm not a lawyer, but that's like secondary. You get the person who actually killed the person, and whoever he say is responsible, we can talk about that.
So that's why I want the perpetrator to go. Squeeze the perpetrator. Maybe the perpetrator will call somebody's name, and then you have impeccable evidence to say, "Lord, you are the cause of this." Then it's just
you see rocking the man. You're not even holding me accountable. But you say, Judge, we always in Monrovia is doing it, or the superintendent is doing it. If you sue those people are grabbed and nothing is done, then you can go to the next step. But without any evidence,
all right,
I find that troubling.
All right, folks in cyberspace, hold on, Mr. Jackson. Folks in cyberspace, this is Focus on Liberia, and we are discussing the incident that happened in Zwedru, Grand Jida County, involving Honorable Yekeh Kolubah and Honorable Elizana B. Cummings. Gentlemen, we have a lot of reaction from prominent representatives or leaders from Grand Jida and across the country. We'll bring one in quickly.
Before we get to that, what I want our panelists to also discuss is if this is an isolated incident, what happened in Grand Jida? Is it something new? Is it something, or has there been a pattern of violence, of that kind of behavior across the country? Let's take a step back and look at that. Then we can see what really is responsible or what is driving this kind of action.
Okay. Can I come in?
Yeah, you can go first.
Yeah. Mr. Jai, again, I will continue to have a disagreement with you. No, what happened in Grand Jida today, violence is something that has been happening in our country, Liberia. Quickly, before I expand this, let me just touch on one or two things you just said. That why is it that we are not arresting those perpetrators? How will we arrest the perpetrators when the superintendent of the county, who's supposed to give the order for the arrest of those people, is the one that orchestrated the whole thing? So it's like, again, I go back to you. It's like your children in a house misbehave. If you don't discipline them, who you think they're going to hold responsible? The parent in the home. Ja, let us not polish this thing here. Let us not polish it. We know exactly what happened over there. And this is something that's been going on. Now, to expand this, and this is where I am bleeding in me. I'm crying. I'm disappointed. Because Joseph Thomas Jackson, was one of those who put my life on the line for the change that we said we wanted? Where is this peace ambassador? This peace ambassador that was able to disarm young soldiers in our country. Where is this peace ambassador who people knew around the world? United Nations, UNICEF appointed him as a peace ambassador. Where is this peace ambassador? This is not the first incident, but since this government came into being, there have been so many violence going on in our country. Where is the peace ambassador that we brought into leadership to bring change to our country? Where is the peace ambassador? If you as a leader sit there and see these things goes on every time and you are not reacting, what do you expect the people to say or do? Jah? They're going to put a blame on the president. We know President was not in that spot at the identical time. But Jah, we are talking about the peace ambassador that we all knew. Where is he? Jah, this is why we are crying today. Where is the peace ambassador? This is the question. Where is the peace ambassador? President Weah need to step up. You understand me? Yes. No decent person, absolutely, no decent person will condone the act of Yekeh Kolubah abusing the president. No, but he cannot sit there and allow Yekeh Kolubah to be attacked over there, and not only Yekeh Kolubah, but what do you call it? A political leader of a political party. If that was George Weah that was being attacked today, do you know what was going to happen in Liberia today? Liberia would have been on fire today from CDC. From CDC. No, hold on. Let me take this out. If George Weah was the one that they were going to throw stone at today, Liberia would have been on fire today. People of different tribes who was lived in Monrovia that were not any part of Grand Gita, houses would have been burned down today.
Joe, I just want to inject something so you can learn. Where are you living? I am not excusing anybody, and I'm not polishing, right? I just want to say here, why aren't we holding people accountable? People themselves.
How are we holding people accountable, when the superintendent who's supposed to hold the people accountable is not holding the people accountable? Who's supposed to, Mr. Jack, who's supposed to give the order for the arrest of those people? Who? Mr. Jack, can you answer the question for me, please?
We have law enforcement in the country, right? We have the police.
Who's supposed to give the, I'm asking you. I know we got a law enforcement there. Law enforcement don't just move ahead to go to your place and arrest you. No, who's supposed to give the order for those guys to be arrested?
Joe, I'm not a law enforcement officer, but if a crime is taking place in the street, somebody's burglarizing a store, and we have a police there, and we say the superintendent have to give order before the police step in.
No, you're talking about burglarizing. This is not a burglarizing. This
is vandalism in the street. People are throwing stones.
No, it's not a scene. It's not a scene.
All right. Yeah. Okay, I got you. Let's go to Alice.
Okay, can I come in?
Yeah, let's go to Alice.
Well, so what I think is the superintendent is entrusted with everything that has to do with peace, security of Grand Gita County. So the violence that occurred today started gradually. It didn't start right away. The people started being agitated. And I look at majority of those people were young people. Yeah. Some of them were below 14 years old. And with such an angry mob, I don't think anybody would have stopped that violence other than the superintendent of the county. Because if you hear that guest is coming in your town, everybody heard from the radio station, from the TV, that there was going to be a tour from Monrovia through the southeast. So the superintendent of Grand Gita County didn't need a specific letter or specific a guest to inform him that there were going to be people coming in the county. So as a chief executive of the county, he's supposed to make sure that law and order is maintained, especially if you have guests in the county. He did not do that. Those group of young people started mobilizing. He was observing them. From talking, it's escalated to throwing stone. And the superintendent of the county will sit there without even taking any action and will go arrest people under 13 years old. You know how many people are supposed to be arrested? There were a lot of people. So he should have even avoided that. He should have made sure that law and order was kept. Where's the police? The police should have guarded against the lawmaker and the chairman of the party, of the CPP. These people should have been protected.
May I jump in here?
I ordered people to come, angry mob, to come up there with stones, and then we go erect talks. No, there were young people and there were too many, and the superintendent should have kept law and order, which he failed to do.
How about the mayor of the city?
The mayor of the city? Well, the superintendent is above the mayor. So a high power delegation coming in a town like that, I don't think everything should be left with the mayor. The superintendent played a very important part. And then the CPP chairperson said today that he alleged that the superintendent has hand in this. And he wouldn't just say that. There are a lot of things he looked at. He must have calculated a lot of things to come up with that pronouncement publicly. And I hope that we have investigation.
And may I jump in here?
Mr. Sear, your callers are waiting.
Yeah, let the callers wait. Mr. Ja, let me jump in here. You know, we all know our country. The incident that happened today is a major political incident that happened because it started from political disagreement with Yekeh, Star, and Tune in politics. And the young people, most of them, or majority of them, or maybe all of them, being on a different political divide, who felt that, you know, Yekeh has been on the neck of their guy, President Weah, and maybe against their party, they wanted to pay back. They sell it. They use the very words Yekeh will use on President Weah when they had got her. And I'm saying this to say that something of this magnitude involving key political leader on the opposition side, the superintendent had the ability to step in there. So for you to say, oh, yeah, why couldn't the police step in? Or why couldn't the city mayor? Or why couldn't any other person in law enforcement? Yes, they could do that, but we know our society. We know things don't work like that. What you're talking about, that's how it should be. But that is not the case with Liberia. So if we talk about it, my brother, I agree you have a point, but your point is not flying. The superintendent needed to make sure that any major political leader that goes into that county is treated fairly and not feeling intimidated, because Liberia is a politically active environment, especially during the political season. And that is why Alice is saying, that is why Jackson is saying, and that's what I'm saying too. Why are you saying that approach? It won't work because that is not the culture in Liberia. And you know, so and here's the thing now. This man, let me learn.
No, I don't want you to have the impression that I'm excusing the superintendent.
This man,
that's not what I'm saying.
Let me learn. This man is yet to even have a press conference to describe the behavior of those talks that brought embarrassment upon the people of Grand Gila that he represents as a superintendent. He's yet to have a press conference to describe the behavior and tell the world that we do not behave here in Grand Gila County. He's yet to say anything about that. We have not heard of any arrest that may, but up to now, something that major, a responsible leader will want to make sure there is some form of accountability that is communicated to the outside so they can know that as the authority of that country, he has taken action. Nothing. I don't want to talk about the president because he won't do anything. That's why he does. He never says anything. But maybe I should give you time.
Let me be clear here. There are a lot of blames to go around. And nobody in their right mind is going to excuse the superintendent or the governor of the state, right? But the tendency of always excusing people and going behind architect or someone who, if people are paid to commit crime, your first action should be against those people, because our young people have had a free ride for so long. Every now and then they get paid or they get put together by some invisible hand to cause chaos, to cause problem, and destroy their own future. But we don't easily hold them accountable. We say, well, we excuse them and blame somebody else. Maybe when we start catching these guys and start putting them in jail and start, holding them accountable for their action, being punished severely, maybe that is going to discourage them from allowing themselves to always be used. But we often excuse them. We don't think they did anything wrong, but we are very quick to look at who sent them, who sent you.
And
well,
Jah, the point is who's supposed to arrest them and punish them? That's the authority, and the authority is not doing that.
Therefore, they are excused.
Well, you, the citizens, supposed to go and arrest them? No, that's not your responsibility.
But we, the citizens, who are we holding accountable? How do we discourage people from getting paid to do these things? We are getting
hold the elected officials and appointed officials who are charged with the responsibility of maintaining law and order accountable, so they can do their work, and that's what people are doing.
That's how we make these people so almighty that everything they are responsible. They are able to tell us who to sleep with. They are able to tell us what food to eat. They are able to determine everything in our lives. So
right. In our situation, if the superintendent can arrest those people, you know what's going to happen? The day those guys leave from Grand Judah to go to Morovia, you know what happened? The ANC UNO supporter will jump on them.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yekeh will jump on them too.
All right, let's make progress here. Let's make
progress. Because one thing that is clear in all this is nobody likes the violence. A lot of people don't like the violence. But what we were saying, Alice, okay.
Let me come in.
Okay. More time to talk, Alice, because we have a lot to cover here. We got a lot of materials to show too, okay? So let's bring the first one, and then you can respond to it. Dennis, are you ready at your end?
Yeah.
So there have been a lot of statements coming out from prominence, citizens in the country, especially from Grand Judah too. We have one here from Dr. Joseph Gbagba. We just put it on the screen there. I will allow Dennis to read a portion of it, and then we will bring Alice in to respond.
All right. Mr. Rabbi Prince Joseph Tumo Galode Baba Sr. He writes, "This morning I watched a very disturbing and undemocratic precedent set in Zwedru, Grand Judah County, involving residents of Zwedru and the opposition political team headed by Mr. Alexander Cummings and Honorable Yekeh Kolubah. It is unfortunate that their vehicles will be vandalized and their human persons threatened." Let me note that Dr. Baba is from Grand Judah County. What I saw was completely unacceptable and unlawful. Therefore, it requires immediate legal remedy from the government of Liberia to put an end to such a diabolical act. First and foremost of all, it is completely uncivilized and unlawful for any citizen, let alone any Liberian political aspirants, be attacked, lampooned, intimidated, and their human persons threatened and properties vandalized while exercising his or her franchise as a citizen of the Republic. Let me also, in this public manner as well, that Honorable Yekeh Kolubah should be respected like any other lawmaker in Liberia, because he proffers divergent views contrary to those his opponent is no yardstick to threaten or lampoon him, because in exercising and accepting diverse views lies the richness of our democracy. Therefore, in my opinion, he did not breach the law to travel to Grand Judah County to exercise his right as both a prominent citizen of Liberia and a lawmaker. I want to skip to somewhere there. He said, also, I would like to clarify that while the unfortunate incident that occurred in Zwedru is unlawful and uncivilized, it should not be seen as the sole responsibility or decision of only Grand Judeans, because like any local capital city in Liberia, Liberian citizens from all ethnic groups, including foreign nationals, reside in each county in Liberia, with Grand Judah being no exception. Therefore, we must collectively condemn the unlawful act and not be too quick to cast collective guilt or conclude that what occurred in Zwedru today was the sole decision of Grand Judeans. If Liberia must move forward towards peace and reconciliation, we must be careful when responding to unfortunate circumstances that have the propensity to create national turmoil and consequently set us many decades behind. The last statement, he said, let me appeal to all Liberians to speak with one voice by appealing to the government to promote justice, peace, and rule of law in Liberia. Anything short of rule of law is unacceptable and detrimental to the security of the Liberian state. Respectfully, Rabbi Prince Joseph Tumo Garode Baba, Liberian playwright and senior citizen.
Yeah. So Dr. Baba rightly said, what is the fact? First of all, like I said, the people that participated in the violence, majority of them were young people, because I watched the video. Majority of them were like below probably 18 years old. And so these people, most of them are minor. You know, the laws of Liberia, I don't think will take a little kid or young kid like that who is not even 18 years old to the courts. But what I'm saying is, my position is the person who is given the authority to control the city, to provide security for the city, that person is the one to be blamed for the violence that occurred today. And I agree with Dr. Baba. It's not only Grenadians in Zwedru, but majority of the youth in that county are from Grand Gide. And majority of them, you can hear them on a video saying that because Yekeh Kolubah is always insulting the president. Now, they can't take the president to be their personal properties. A lot of people do that, even on Facebook. By the time you say president, the next thing will be insult from people. You can't do that because the president represents the Republic of Liberia, and he is a president for everybody. You cannot want to revenge for him by killing other people, because he's like a father. People say what they want to say for or against. At the end of the day, everybody is from the country, and he is the leader for that country. So it is wrong for a group of people to want to fight other people or kill other people because they so much support the president. That is not the way to run Liberia. Another thing we need to look at is everybody has the right to say what they want to say. It is your right to criticize somebody. It is your right to praise people. But if somebody is not physically attacking another person, like I said before, Yekeh has not taken any rock or stick to hit President Weah. He has said a whole lot of outrageous things which I don't support the language, but that his way of expressing himself. So if you want to do the same thing, do it verbally. I heard them singing song in that video, insulting Yekeh mother. If you think that's the way to do it, why not do it? But why would you want to be physical? The way I really don't support a physical abuse of anybody.
Thank you. Joe, let me read this for you. Let me put it on the screen for our viewers too. And this came from a prominent son of Grand Jida County, in person of journalist Gibson Juru. We invited him. He should have been here, but he's so busy. And he gave us the go-ahead to put the statement here. So he wrote on his Facebook page. Let me read for you, Joe Jackson, and you can come in. The first one was 1 almost down, 3 to go. And he wrote another one and said, he's a talk, ex-killer, and conscripting officer, ex-armed robber, he said. He causes honor women. How driving him out of Jide is wrong. Gesim Juru is asking that question. Let's bring you in, Joe. But before you speak, let me read this one also from Samuel Kayando Jr. Samuel Kayando Jr. wrote on his Facebook page, this is totally disgraceful. The way our people are behaving in Grand Jide. If you treat a lawmaker in such manner, you risk also getting your lawmakers antagonized if they go to other counties. Yes, agree, we love our president, but why behave barbarically so that people see the king loving people of Mama Jide as hooligan? This is not our nature. You guys wrong the honorable man. Regardless of our differences, we have a culture of being very kind and caring to our guests. Stop this at once, man. That was from the son of the late President Samuel Kayando. So two different statements there from two prominent sons of Grand Gillette. Chairman, oh, sorry, that chairman thing, you put it away a long time. Oh, Mr. Joe Jackson, well, what's your reaction to the two statements?
Well, those two gentlemen, that is Dr. Bada, you said, and
Joe Baba.
Dr. Joe Baba, and Samuel Gion. Those are the decent Grangidians. Those are the people that are considered to be a true son of Grangide, because that's who the Grangidians are. Grangidians are not a Confucianist. Like I said, I've been knowing that before the war. It is only because of the war that we got to know who actually the Grangidians are. But to that journalist, it is unfortunate that he will classify himself as a journalist. Those are the people who want to see war in our country. You understand me? Because you, as a journalist, to write such communication out there, you are. What you think you're doing? You are inciting war in our country. What makes you think that the ANC supporters are not waiting for the representative of Grand Gires into Morovia? What makes you think so? What makes you think so? Then what's going to happen? It's going to be too late if this government cannot come out now and speak on the issue. Because up to now, we are yet to hear the foreign minister, not the foreign minister, I mean the information minister, coming out to condemn this, neither the president. So for me, I will give credence to the two beautiful and decent.
Joe, you got muted there. Unmute yourself. You got muted there.
Grangidian friends who are on social media supporting this are, shame on you. Shame on you. Because I don't know you to be that person. I don't know you to be like that. President Weah from Grand Gire. President Weah is not from Grand Gire. If President Weah has a problem with Yekeh Kolubah insulting him, that is not the right of Grand Gire to retaliate. Because what those guys are doing, like I said earlier, the county Grand Gire is not only known in the country Liberia. The county Grand Gire, the county Nimba, those two counties are known internationally. If anything like that happen, people want to hear which country is that Grand Gire. Oh, another war is coming again in the country. So they got to be very careful. We got to be very careful when we go on social media, how we address this kind of issue.
But Joe,
I'm not in support of Yekeh Kolubah abusing the president or insulting the president mother. That's totally unacceptable. But you know what? He has his right to travel anywhere in Liberia that he wants to go, especially being a lawmaker. So I want to say thank you to Joe Gion and Dr. Baba.
Dennis?
No, Joe, I wanted to say, and that's why I asked the question earlier whether this was isolated, because what you have just described has not happened in Grand Gire alone. It also happened in Grand Bassa.
Yes.
You know, wherever it's wrong. So, but let's go to more statement, because there are some people making statement.
Okay.
We have this time from a member of the CDC, someone who has also been on Focus on Liberia several times, and that's Professor Isaac Lakbo Zawlo. And his statement reads, "What goes around comes around. Some of you who go to the length to spew hate against me for supporting George Weah want Grangidians to show love for a person who hates the indisputable best president of Liberia ever. This morning, or just this morning, I read an attempt by a political featherweight of the worthless ANC trying to prevent me from being a part of some social group that I belong to simply because I am a seditian. Come on, really? So let me talk about the Zwedru resistance. I believe every Liberian has the right to decide his or her political path, and with this comes consequences. The spontaneous resistance by the people in Zwedru today to a new serial abuser of decency sends a clear message about the need to change the tune of our political rhetoric. What I'm hearing today is that the residents of Zwedru are concerned about the level of use of profanities by people who are honorables. We can disagree, but casting aspirations on the president's mother should not be a vehicle for conveying our disagreement with the policies of the president. Disagreement with the president should not lead to open, flagrant, and outright disregard for the rule of law. There are so many lessons to learn from the event in Zwedru today. And let me go to the last state. Okay, this is very important, so I don't want to judge. Yeah. I don't want to jump over it. My hope is that Mr. Yekeh Kolubah is safe and that he can use the event to have some time of reflection. I also hope that other youth in other counties should learn from the youth of Grand Jide. The actions taken today by the Grangidians is an uncommon display of true patriotism. That's Professor Zwedru. Such actions promote peace, guide our democracy, and serve as a deterrence to the adversaries of our commitment to genuine reconciliation under the sagacious leadership of our messianic leader, Dr. George M. Weah. Lest you spin this as a support for violence and manifestation of intolerance, let me hasten to state that, to the contrary, today's action was a clarion call against violence and a lesson in tolerance. Mr. C. Lola, you are enough.
Can I come in there?
Let me come with this and then it's Miss Mamba time. I couldn't use Miss. If the gentleman is listening, I might get in trouble here. But let's go to business. Yeah, I was just about to say before you come in, Alex. And we saw there at the University of Liberia something similar, right? When Zolizo visited the University of Liberia, because of his Facebook post that was outrageous as well. Some students at the University of Liberia, they chased him around. They chased him. They never got him, but he escaped. They never wanted him on the campus because of what he said. And the children in Grand Jide, or the youth in Grand Jide, did the same exact thing. We don't want to see Yekeh here because of what he been saying. So Zwedru is saying this is fair game. That's all I'm getting from him.
I disagree with Zwedru. Okay. Two wrongs cannot make one right. Mm-hmm. First of all, Yekeh using profanity against the president. Most of us don't support that. Mm-hmm. Even though he has a great message, when he's using a profanity, he says some things that are really, really logical. But because of the profanity, some people, they get turned off. At the same time, the youth in Grand Jide, I mean, come on, this is a highway. Grand Jide just happened to be on the highway. And there are people in Grand Jide that are also members of CPP. So you cannot say Yekeh cannot go in Zwedru. Why? But his supporters are there. The party has members. It's no man's land. That land is for everybody. CPP, whatever political parties, we all got people that support other people. So no group of citizens can get up and say, you cannot pass through here. You have to go back to Ada River or Maryland to go to Monrovia. That was wrong. And I think every well-meaning Liberian need to frown on that. You need to frown on that because the behavior is not right.
Okay. Mrs. Moba, you say Yekeh has a great message.
Yeah, Yekeh always discussing issues, things that he feel like Liberian people are not being treated well. He says that. But the tone, which is the insulting part of it, this is where I don't support. Right. But I listen to him most of the time. I don't think you have to insult somebody to put your message forward.
All right. Let me bring you another thing. And I also said that is this isolated? We have an example after the county meet. There was a game between Nimba County and Grand Cru. And after that game, based on what was done at the end, there were people in Nimba who said Zioka Wilson would never come to Nimba. I know that was little resolved. And then also in Grand Jida today, Honorable Yekeh said the president will not go to Lofa, right? I'm just bringing this thing in that this is something that is going across the country. Where are we headed? Are we going to build? I don't know.
and Mr. Jad, this is why we have to condemn this. This is why the president of Liberia needs to condemn this. This is why the superintendent of Grand Jida needs to be fired, because you don't want all this crap to go around. We don't want that. The president cannot go to Lofa and be attacked by people that support Yekeh Kolubah. The president cannot go to Maryland and be attacked by people that support Alexander Cummings. So all the behavior, if somebody did something wrong, you have to frown on it. You have to punish the person so that it cannot be repeated. That's the purpose of speaking to it, and that's the purpose of taking action. If you cannot take action, you just silence yourself, it means that you support that. Because silent, we all know if you're not saying something, it means you support it.
That is
and that is not peaceful at all.
All right.
Can I respond to Zawolo later there, please?
Yeah, please. 1 minute. Go ahead.
Okay, good. Professor Zawolo is someone who I regard as a good friend, a brother. We work together. He served as the secretary.
You went on mute, Joe. Okay, good. Okay.
During the Ava administration. And outside of that, we have some personal relationship, I would say. Whenever I need any assistance, I called upon him. Though he never supported me when I was contesting for the chairmanship of the CDC USA. He has his own reason for that. But still, there was no hard feelings. We still have a very good relationship going on between he and I. Like I said this morning, as I was going through social media and I came across his post, I was one of those who went there and condemned that post what he wrote. And he replied to my statement. If he asked the question, whether I read it. For him to come out and say, oh, the Grenadian youth exhibited patriotism. Look, Yekeh Kolubah, from one of the largest tribes in Liberia and the largest tribe in Lofa County, which is the Loma tribe. Okay? And that was the county that President Weah never won. President Weah is struggling to gain the support of the people of Lofa on his side. Okay?
And so, Joe, that's the wrong thing we always do, though, but continue.
Yeah, he's struggling, yes. That's the only county that he has not getting full support of yet. You have Joseph Boakai over there. So tell me, are you telling me that tomorrow if President Weah, which I know for sure that he's planning to go to Lofa, like Yekeh Kolubah goes to Lofa and mobilize his people, that when President Weah Kai is passing the text stone and start to chunk those stones, you say, oh, I'm going to hail the youth of Lofa County for standing up, for being patriotic, to go against President Weah for what the Grenadians did to Yekeh Kolubah? Is that what we're going to do? Is that what we're going to encourage in our country, Liberia? Is that the peace we want to see in our country? Look, let me say this here.
Yeah,
and it's true that this is not the first time. Since this government took power, there have been so many violence going on in our country. So many violence going on. You understand me? And if the president cannot come out to unite the people of Liberia, I will say this today and let me go on record. There will be a civil war under the leadership of President Weah before he leaves power.
God forbid.
He needs to come out.
God forbid.
He needs to come out.
You. Yeah.
President Weah needs to come out and unite the country. President Weah needs to come out and speak up, put his differences aside. With Yekeh Kolubah, with what do you call him? Alexander Cummings, look at the name that Professor Tappet is calling a professor, a man that I respect, calling Alexander Cummings a low-wit person. I mean, for God's sake, and you telling me that what goes around comes around? So because Yekeh Kolubah did it to President Weah, so therefore the Granadian youth should do it to him too? Oh, okay. Yeah. So then watch and see what the Loma people are going to do, or the Lofians going to do if they hear that President Weah is going to Lofakate. Since you said what goes around comes around, then it's going to be the other way around too. What goes around comes around.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson. And that's why, if you listened to me earlier, that's why I said, let us not, if people behave criminally, let's deal with them and let us not tie them to ethnic group or tribe, because that's how civil war starts. Yes. So if you compare that, okay, they did it in Grand Jide, and so what if Lofa or Loma, then we are, please hold me responsible for my action. Don't get the people that don't get involved. Mr. C, you got a lot of callers. What we do next?
Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's get a few callers to participate. They are burning. They want to come in and enjoy this. So the first person here who's been here for 33 minutes is Zaza. Zaza, you are calling from a 314 area code. Okay, Mr. Zaza, you are live.
Yeah, okay, thank you for unmuting me. Thank you so much to everyone on the show, and thank you to everybody that's listening. I, in my own person, Emmanuel Zaza, do condemn violence in whatever form, whether physically, verbally, sexually, emotionally, or whatever form. I condemn violence. And I also want to come here and condemn everyone who are selecting what to speak to and not the issue that is affecting Liberia. It's a shame that you will condemn these enchanted Granadians and call them the entire Granadian. It's really a shame. And I must be bored. I'm hurt because people will sit there and allow people being chased out of the campus of the University of Liberia, and they celebrate it. They look at somebody spewing insanity and encouraging the youth of Liberia to be rude and feel that the best way you can go forward is to be violent, and they accept it. People boycott streets, tires in the streets. They did not condemn it, but because it's against somebody, they consider they are hero. And they think that is affecting Liberia. No, it's not affecting Liberia. You supported it. These are the things you nurture, and it's grow. You know, what they certify with Kolubah, and they say Kolubah should leave their county. Kolubah stood there and said, I will get outside, and the chicken that needs to be butchered in Grand Jide will be butchered. You call the people chickens. And that's how the spoon playing started. And they say, when they call chicken, then we'll get at him. That's how they started playing chicken. They don't work and start playing stew. And you sit there and you're condemning the people. You want the president to speak when the House of Representatives condemned Honorable Fagon and condemned him as a non-governmental material for insulting, and Yekeh Kolubah have been insulting since the beginning of Representatives, and they're not condemning him. Why will you be selected? Why can't you condemn what is affecting Liberia? Violence should be condemned across the board. It's a shame that you're being selected. I hold my peace.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's bring in someone else, and that will be the Rabbi, Dr. Joseph Garode Baba. You are live, sir.
Thank you so much. And I want to thank the guests on the show for their participation. The first thing that I want to address will be Joe's initial introductory remark where he said Grand Jide again, you know, and that Grand Jideans were responsible for the death of 250,000 people and all of that, you know. That I guess was done out of emotionalism, and I hope that the young man will reconsider that statement that he made. The Liberian genocide, as everyone should know by now, is not a genocide that was solely created by the people of Grand Jide as was portrayed in his initial statement. And that was not in place. That's number one. Number two, I'm sure that Joe does know that it wasn't Grandians that raised the money to purchase guns and to go to Burkina Faso, train people, go to Liberia, train people, come to the Ivory Coast and pass through the borders, Butu, and begin to kill people in Liberia. Yes, a crime man was.
Dr.
No,
Bala,
just a minute, please.
no, let me hold you there.
Just
We're
a
running the
minute,
show,
please.
Dr. Bala. I can hold you there. Let
Yeah.
me hold you there
Okay.
because you are in error.
Mm-hmm.
Joe did not hold Grandier people responsible for the death of the 250,000. What he was
Thank
saying,
you.
the
Well,
war that was fought.
you need
No. I'm making a point here. Give me a chance, sir. Give me a chance. All
Okay.
right. While you are saying you are in error, I listened to Joe. He said the war that was fought, Grand Gila was heavily involved. That war saw the death of 250,000
That's
people.
the whole
You're not
Liberia
saying
was
that Grand
heavily
Gila people
involved.
were
That's what I'm trying to
responsible.
say. That's what I'm trying to say. That's the whole Liberia. It's not just Grand Gila. That's the correction I'm trying to make. That's the whole Liberia. So it shouldn't be said that way either. That's the correction I'm trying to make. And of course, from my statement, I did say that the government has a responsibility to legally address that issue immediately. And that those who were perpetrators of that act should be investigated. So that's where I stand with respect to that. People should stop casting collective guilt on entire people. In Grand Gila, if you know the new demographics of Grand Gila now, they got a lot of Nema people, Mano, Gio people, Fula, what's that, Grable, Crew, everybody in that place. Is that just Grand Gileans alone there? Or when you say Grand Gileans, Crown people alone in Grand Gila or in Zwedru? Zwedru is a melting pot in the southeastern region.
That is
so
true.
we should take time how we conclude, and make statements, open statements that are misleading. That's what I'm saying.
Thank you, Dr.
And
Baba.
I thank you for the opportunity.
We read your powerful statement too. We read your powerful statement. I think you heard that, right?
Yeah, I sure did. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank
Baba.
you. Let's bring in one more caller, and then we have a lot of callers, and then our panelists can weigh in, and that will be our own man, Desmond Finley.
Yeah, how you guys doing today?
Great. You have 1 minute, Desmond.
No,
this
I
is
give
an
the man 2
interesting
minutes.
show.
He's an analyst here. We're getting 2 minutes.
All right, this
ahead.
is a very interesting show today.
Yeah.
What I wouldn't do here is I wouldn't address right or wrong, right?
Mm-hmm.
I will look at certain things that some of the commenters that are talking about as it relates to Miss Alice. Miss Alice keeps talking about the children in the picture. They were looking like 18 or under 18-year-old, or they're on. First thing is you can validate that they were under 18, and even if they were under 18, there's more reason for them to go to jail. Because a child under 18 that can behave like that and force somebody mind in public like that, when they turn 21, they'll be killing people. So therefore, they should go to jail today, based on that. And the laws in Liberia don't restrict you from coming. When you come in, I'm not talking about the insult. I'm talking about the violent act by throwing rocks and stuff like that. Those are violent acts. You can go to jail for it regardless of your age. In any country, Liberia is not outside of that violent act. Another thing I'll comment on is on Zawolo. I know Zawolo has a people from Virginia for a long time. When you read that statement, I saw it today. When I read the first paragraph, I just skipped it and I left it because I didn't want to get annoyed. And I'm a people, so I left it alone. But when I heard you reading it today, but especially when you got to the end of it, the only thing I could think about is this shows the level that people were going in Liberia to be divisive, right? And the reason why people are calling for somebody to say something about this is this. It's the retaliatory nature that people would take. People are not going to retaliate because there are full of people in Grand Gila, there are possible people in Grand Gila, which in Zwedru, which is true. The outlook on it, the projection out there is that crime people did what happened to Yekeh today, which isn't true. It's not factually accurate. but the perception is what reality is going to look at. So how do we go about this? There should be a mediation in this thing where the responsible party, right? The reason why you are a leader in situation is because the responsibility is on the president right now to ask and say, you know what? When Shadisha got in the street and walked with casket for Ellen Johnson, Ellen ain't say nothing, but call her in and have a dialogue. So this is the responsibility of the president at this point in time to manage our peace. Manage our peace. Please manage our peace.
All right.
It's not a superintendent job. First, I'm going to tell you guys, it's not a superintendent job. Everybody calling for a superintendent to arrest people. It's not a superintendent job to arrest anybody in any country, anywhere in the Republic of Liberia. No superintendent can arrest. It's a police officer job in Liberia to arrest people for violating crimes, for breaking laws. No superintendent can arrest, yeah? Let's go to Joe and Miss Alice. No superintendent can arrest. He's not a law enforcement officer. He's a county administrative officer, not a law enforcement officer. It's like you asking a minister from public works to go arrest somebody. It doesn't work. That's not how it works. So
right.
I just leave my 2 minutes and I'll go back to listen.
All right.
Thank you. Let me bring in Emmanuel Soman alive when I say the last, because he's been here longer too. So Emmanuel, make your point quickly, and then we go to our panelists.
Hey, thank you for adding me on. I really appreciate it. Let me just put bring my little knowledge on the table. First of all, you know, everybody tries to say, "Oh, we condemn violence. We condemn violence." You see, there are certain times in society, certain things that we should accept and move forward. For example, in Sierra Leone, when Sierra Leone was searching for justice, the citizens themselves have to get involved and issue a citizen arrest on the rebel leaders. Now, I listened to a guest called Joe, continue to say, "Oh, the Grenadian, the Nofian will stop person." Let me ask him. Every time Yekeh goes to bed and wake up, if someone knocks at his door, he insults the president. He and the one or two going to argument, he insulted the president. Is crime transferable? That's my question. Is crime transferable? Absolutely no. So whatsoever done Yekeh Kolubah in Grenadian, President does not know about it. You cannot just come on public media and just accuse the person that the person has to do this. The person, first of all, Yekeh Kolubah should understand that he's a lawmaker. I, as an ordinary citizen, I can insult anybody. Maybe somebody will say, "Okay, little man," but when you are a lawmaker, an example, you bear the flag of the nation. You stay in the middle of the capital city on the roof of the car and publicly abuse your own mother on Facebook Live. And you say, "Person, we are responsible for him. Person, we should reconcile with him." No. The only thing I can say that President, we are government need to enforce the rule of law. President, we are government is giving too much leverage to Yekeh, and Yekeh see that violence is a constitutional right. If the government of Liberia cannot enforce the rule of law, there will be violence in this country because the country is getting too lawless. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Emmanuel.
You're making a good point there, but I want you to conclude with this. But we know that of all the lawmakers we have, Yekeh is the one all the time will always be into something with the government. You think he's feeling that he's being intimidated always? That's why he's reacting that way? What do you think?
No, he's not. Let me tell you. I'll be honest with you. Yekeh is greatly traumatized. Yekeh fought 14 years of brutal civil war, killed innocent people, raped innocent people. That brother is not normal.
All right.
Why you think Prince Johnson cannot get on radio and just insult innocent people? Why General Peanut Butter cannot insult innocent people? Why General Budleke cannot have press conference and insult innocent people? There is something that Yekeh is in that is in him. Yekeh is not normal. You think Yekeh is normal? Did you see what happened between him and 102? As soon as you say Yekeh, excuse me, Yekeh just jump onto the car and start insulting. That guy is not normal. That guy is a domestic terroristic threat to Liberia. And the government of Liberia has to be, the government of Liberia has to take a decisive legal action against him.
Thank you.
That's what the government needs to do.
Thank you. Then let's do this. Let's play the press conference from the.
I want to make a comment before you move on, please. So I can forget, please. I beg you.
The press conference.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Let me make some correction. Even though you try to come in to help me, which I do appreciate. But first, I will start over the last caller. You know, when people speak in
Mr. don't help me next time he's here. He can defend himself.
Yeah. I know.
I was not helping him, but I felt that Dr. Bala did not get him clear. I needed to correct.
Thank you. And it's the same thing with the last caller too, who never got me. I was responding to the communication that Professor Zawolo sent out there that the youth in Grand Jide, he commended them for their patriotism. So I said that's a form of inciting violence. So are you saying that since Yekeh Kolubah is a lawman, he has the largest tribe in Lofa, so therefore if President Weah is making a trip over there, he should put his people together and stone the president? That's what I was saying. I'm not saying that the Lofians going to stop President Weah from going to Lofa. So get that clear, Mr. Smo. I know we're former partisans. I know you very well. You know me very well. I know you still support CDC. So yes, you'll come out of CDC. That's not what I said, that the Lofians will stop President Weah from going to Lofa. I was responding to the communication from Professor Zawolo. Now, to Dr.
Bala.
Baba.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Baba.
Yeah, Baba.
Again, for the record, what I said when I saw the headline from front page this morning, what happened in Grand Jide, it reminded me of the Civil War. Because some of us, we are still traumatized from that war. We still got scarred of that war. And looking at the role that Grand Jide played in that Civil War.
And that's what I say. What is that role, Mr. Jackson?
Oh, I mean, if fighting, killing people, I mean, people die on both sides, you know. So when I hear the name Grand Jide, I said Grand Jide again, because I said they was involved. I never said that they carry war into Liberia that killed 250,000 people. I said they were involved. So thank you, Mr. C, for that correction there. And to my brother,
Mr. Jackson, I want to hold you there before you continue. When you say Grand Jide was involved, what do you mean specifically?
They participated in the war. They participated in the war.
Which county did not participate?
Okay, Mr. Ja, we know for sure that, hey, the Grand Jidians, what they call it, the Nimbadians and the Mandingo were the three tribes that was heavily involved in this war.
No, my question is, which county did not participate?
You're talking about the level of participation.
You're talking about the level of participation. Yes, that's what I'm talking about, Ja. That's what I'm talking about.
No, because what I want us to correct here is, during the war, there were certain ethnic groups that were targeted. Is that the heavy participation? We have at the start of the war, Mano and Gio or Nimba people were targeted for extinction. In the middle of the war, Grandidians were targeted to be extinct.
Yeah.
Mandingos were also targeted to be extinct, right?
Yes.
So when you say heavily involved, what do you mean? And then when they started recruiting people, the entire country was recruited. I saw.
Yes, but I mean, we're talking about the involvement of those three, what do you call it, tribes. The three tribes. That's what I'm talking about here, Mr. Ja. But anyway, let's move on. So anyway,
I disagree with that, though.
Okay, good. You can disagree with it. But Mr. Finney said, "Oh, the superintendent cannot arrest." Yes, I agree with you. He cannot go out there and arrest anybody. But the superintendent is the head of the county. I hope you're listening. He has the right to give the directive for any violence in his county. You understand me? Told the law enforcement people for those people to be arrested. So that's what I'm talking about. Yes, the superintendent has the right to give the order for those people to be arrested. If he wanted those people to be arrested this morning, he would have done so.
Is the city mayor or the police director? Go ahead, Alice.
Can I come in?
Sure.
Okay, so I want to respond to the same feeling. When we say the superintendent should have taken action, we don't mean superintendent taking the police gun on his side and going to arrest people. This is far from what we're talking about here. Like, I am in the state of Georgia.
Muted.
If nobody is coming here to rock campaign, the governor of this state will make sure that security is ensured. The security
Unmuted.
of whoever is coming here, high-ranking officer of the country should be ensured. They cannot be left with city mayor. First of all, the people should not even come in close proximity of the guest. knowing very well they were thugs. You saw the violence in their faces. You know where they stand. You know their level of education. You know the way they've been doing things. So if you know a special guest is coming in the county that you heard about over and over on TV and on radio, you should have made sure that those people were protected. And the last caller who talked about when they ask him whether he doesn't think Yekeh is agitated about something or you feel like he's being targeted for which he's misbehaving, and he said, why Prince Johnson and the other people not doing it? Who told you Prince Johnson never did? 1991, Prince Johnson used to leave from Carwell, come on Johnson and Broad Street, and abuse ever saw your mother from morning to night when you had the ECMO guiding him. So go and read your history. Prince Johnson did it many times. So if somebody is being pushed against the wall, people react differently. So I think I left with the president or the commander-in-chief to get Yekeh Kolubah to find out why he's acting the way he's acting. But if you ignore him and keep doing the same thing over and over and expect different results, and you want to compare that to Prince Johnson, well, Prince Johnson felt that he was disenfranchised by Emma Sawyer or whoever was in authority, he was insulting.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. John, let's roll that video. Let's hear from the elective legislative leaders of Grand Judah County. Watch.
Of the press, let me firstly welcome you to this briefing we're going to have with you today on the situation that evolved in Zwedru this morning.
All right, Mr. John,
so I'm going to restrict myself directly to the prepared text so that it's documented for future use. Monrovia, Thursday, July 30, 2020. The attention of the Grand Judah County Legislative Caucus has been drawn to an incident that occurred this morning in Zwedru City, Grand Judah County, where the delegation of the Collaborating Political Parties, CPP, headed by its chairman, Honorable Alexander B. Cummings, along with Honorable Yekeh Kolubah, representative of District 10, Maserati County, were attacked by the group of young people claiming to be members of the Congress for Democratic Change, who are against Representative Kolubah for his usual outburst against the CDC and the President of the Republic of Liberia, His Excellency Dr. George Manawia. The Grand Judah County Legislative Caucus views this incident as unfortunate, embarrassing to the county and its peace-loving people for its hospitality and lawful behavior over the years. Is now being perceived as a city of disgruntled people, which is completely contrary to our culture and values. The Grand Judah County Legislative Caucus hereby condemns in the stronger terms the attack on Honorable Alexander Cummings, Honorable Yekeh Kolubah, and the entire delegation of the CPP that experienced this unfortunate violence or incident. The caucus is calling on the national security apparatus to arrest and bring to justice all those that masterminded and perpetrated this violence. Gentlemen of the press, the caucus wishes to sound a clear caveat that it will not sit and allow any person or group of persons for whatever reason to use our county to undermine the peace and tranquility we are enjoying as a result of the efforts and resources committed by our regional and international partners. The caucus reaffirmed its commitment to uphold the rule of law in Grand Judah.
All right, folks, we are back with you here. You're just listening to a press conference from Grand Judah Legislative Caucus. In the statement, they condemned the action and they really did not hide their feelings about their disapproval of the action that were exhibited by predominantly young people in Grand Juda County, and they said that that behavior does not represent the people of Grand Juda, and that's now how the people of Grand Juda treat strangers when they visit Grand Juda. Let's come back to our panelists. Uh, Joe Jackson, I
Let me
think.
drop in. Let me drop in few colors before they come in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, let's drop in few colors. They are complaining. They say, "Hey." So let me get. Yeah, let me go with you now. 602 area code. It shouldn't have been you. It should have been one caller who is 1 minute ahead of you, but I already unmuted you. So let's go. 9986. Your name and where you calling from?
Hello?
Yes, your name and where you calling from?
Yeah, Lance, I'm calling from Arizona.
Your name, please.
Lance.
He said Grants. Grants, go ahead.
My name, I said Lance. I'm calling from Arizona.
Go ahead.
Okay. First of all, I want to say the two guests in the studio there or wherever they are part of the problem, right? The lady went and praised Yekeh. Yes, they are part of the problem in Liberia. You know, the guys in the yellow, he over there sitting over there inciting violence, talking about Lovian should attack the president too.
Lamb.
And then, yes.
The man in the yellow, you're talking about, his name is Joseph Jackson, and our guest is Mrs. Alice Moba. So please, if you can, address them by name.
Yeah, I don't know their name. That's why I'm describing the shirt or
Joe Jackson,
what they look
Alice
like.
Moba. Go ahead.
Okay, Joe Jackson. First of all, if you're having a guest on the show, you shouldn't have somebody that hit the president or hit this government in studio. Then you're gonna get a reaction what you're getting now by the callers. Because if you're discussing this issue, you go and watch the video. Go and watch the video from the start. When the youth got right in front of where Yekeh was. Go and watch the video from the start. They didn't go there for violence. All they went there for is when Yekeh is not going to use Grand Juda to insult the president. Because everywhere he goes, he wants to use that area to insult the president mom. Wait, which African country, first of all, going to accept that? Can you go to Ghana or can you ever see, they like to compare Liberia to Ghana or other countries, but they don't want to take the good things in Ghana. You will not go to any part of Ghana, any of the lawmakers will not go to any part of Ghana and start insulting the president, insulting the president's mother or the president's wife. And the youth, you expect the youth to sit down and not respond. These guys went there, they were saying Yekeh would not use Grand Juda to insult the president's mom, and the president's wife.
Thank you, Len.
All those stoning. No, let me finish. When it starts stoning, Yekeh is responsible for the youth stoning because the statement he made before he came out. And when he came out, he want to fight,
Thank you.
He was the one inciting all this violence. So you guys should get it straight.
Thank you. Let me take Anthony Gay, and then we go to our panelists.
Muted.
Oops.
Unmuted.
Yeah, but man, I'm crazy. I said, oh, wow, they Mr. John man today. How you doing, folks?
Go ahead.
Great topic. I am a Grand Judean, both parents from the county. I was born in Yekeh. But listen, today is a very sad day for our country, our county. And I want to say, every Grand Judean is not like this way. Folks, I want to apologize publicly. I'll use your platform, if I may, to say sorry to Mr. Cummings and Representative Kolubah. This is not who we are. This is not how Grand Judean. If you go to Grand Juda County today, you will see that Grand Juda County kind of look like the capital city of the Southeastern, and also all other tribes are welcome in the county, including foreigners. That's who we are. We are very hospitable and we love people. Comment can only engage when you're engaging. And I'm from the section of crime that said D1 double mini. you play fool to gain wisdom. That's what I say me. They won't done, and I'm from that group. So what I'm trying to say here today is that let us understand one thing and one thing only. It's called democracy. Democracy must prevail. No Liberian own Liberia. Understand this thing. No Liberian own Liberia. Only the Republic of Liberia own Liberia. The government own the country. So every Liberian has every right to go to any part of the country. That is clean and clear. If you do not understand this, then you are in a wrong game. Don't talk about politics, because politics, you must be able to accept dissent, opposing views. But you must do it mutually. Some people are into politics and it's quick to get hurt. Then stop discussing political issues and walk away. This is not your place. We, the political junkies, we will discuss politics each and every day, because for us, somebody say, oh, nobody can insult any president in Africa. I grew up in the Africa Coast. Je pense bien le français, mon frère. And in Africa Coast, people insult president. Excuse me, an insult is not a crime. It is not a crime. It is only unethically wrong to use profanity. That's all it is. But it is not a crime. Nobody goes to jail because you insult. Even in the great United States, we saw Barack Obama got insulted. George Bush was insulted. Donald Trump and me is being insulted as we speak today. So if you are not decent enough or don't understand democracy, don't discuss politics. This act of this was wrong and I condemn it. Thank you.
Anthony. Thank you. Now we go back to our panelists, and we still have callers, but let's go to our panelists.
Thank you, Jack.
Okay. Who wanna go first, ladies and gentlemen?
Yeah, let me go quick. So I beg you.
Okay.
I still be wrapping up. I told you I was going to be here for only 2 hours. Grant just spoke my mind. Grant, I want to say thank you. Yes, you spoke like a true Grangidian.
No, that's Anthony.
Anthony, okay,
Gay.
yeah. Anthony Gay, yeah. Thank you, Anthony. That's who I know the Grangidians to be. Like I said, before the war, I have a brother-in-law, Samuel. I still remember him. He was in the military, very good guy, no confusion. But to Lance, I told you I'm going to come in again, Mr. Sear, to defend me when Lance said,
I was tempted to do so, but
I know. I just laugh at him. Maybe he doesn't know me. So nobody, again, I think some people are getting the whole thing wrong over here. Nobody. And at no time I said that the Lofians will stop President Weah from going to Lofa. I was responding to the comment made by Professor Zawolo hailing the youth of Grangidia for being patriotic. I said that was wrong because you know why? Yekeh Kolubah is from Lofa. He can mobilize his own youth over there too to prevent the president from going there too by throwing stones. So I'm not saying that Lofians or the entire county will stop President Weah from going there. So I hope we get these things clear, because I don't want people leaving from here with misinformation and go say, oh, Mr. Jackson said the Lofians will stop President Weah. No, President Weah has a right. He's the president of the Republic of Liberia. He can go anywhere, anytime, the same way Yekeh Kolubah. We are not, or I am not, encouraging any violence. I'm against Yekeh Kolubah's behavior towards the president. Like the federal just said, yes, the great United States, people insult Donald Trump here on a day-to-day basis. But you never heard one day that they're going to arrest any of those people. You understand me? Why it is true that, like he said, it's wrong. That's not a good behavior. You understand me? You being a lawmaker, coming all the time, insulting the president. If you have your differences with this president, sit with him. But that does not give any citizen the right to attack a lawmaker when he goes in that country to go campaign. That is totally wrong. This is the campaign time. You know what's going to happen? If the CPP lose the election in Grangidia, you know what they're going to say? That they put rig the election, that they denied them their democratic right. And they got a right to say that. Then what happened? So now if the Grangidians come to Morovia, you know what's going to happen too? The ANC people are going to say, you know what? We're going to stage a demonstration. Is that the kind of country we want over there? No. That's the reason why I am calling on the president to put aside his differences with all Liberians that against him, that talk negative things about him, and try to unite the country Liberia. You understand me? We don't want to see the kind of things there. John, like you said, yes. Zolizo went to the University of Liberia, the university student chasing over there. That was wrong. That was also wrong. It is wrong yesterday, it's wrong today, and it's going to be wrong again tomorrow. It's not a good behavior from any decent Liberian. And any Liberian who encourage violence, you are not just a decent person. We don't want to see violence in our country. We suffer too much. I watched the war. I saw the war from the start to the finish in that country. I can give you a whole narrative of that war. I almost got killed. It was one of my own friends from St. Mary's that were in the school together. He's the one that saved me at Freeport. It came with what they call it, Yekeh. He saved me because we were coming to say all the men on the side. When he saw me, he said, oh, no, that's my man right there. Let him go. The hacker, I ran all the way to what they call it, Nipple Street. And I was at Nipple Street until the war ended. And I went back across the bridge.
You didn't have Yekeh, you're running? But let's go to
I got to run. I didn't have Yekeh at that time, but right now I got Yekeh now.
Oh, okay.
I got my 45. My Yekeh, that's my 45. My Yekeh is my 45 year. Yeah.
Alex,
come around, put in your head.
Quickly respond to our callers, and so we can go to another lawmaker who reacted to this story.
So quickly, I want to say that the second to the last caller, well, nobody hates the president. And this is the problem we have in Liberia. Somebody cannot point to what is wrong without being labeled as against or for somebody. And I'm not praising Yekeh. What I said is Yekeh speak to the issue, but the profanity sometimes overshadow the issue that he's addressing. And I said that I'm not a fan of profanity. So at the same time, what happened in Grand Gita, I made my position clear that I hold the superintendent responsible because he was the highest ranking official in the county. And the president of Liberia should have fired him by this time. So we have to get it very clear. Let's move on.
Thank you.
All right. We have a statement from another elected official in Liberia, a patriot, so to speak, is on the board there and is from Senator Cummings B. Wise. Mr. Jack.
The Honorable President Pro Tem of the Senate, that's the letter reads from Honorable Cummings Benedict Wise. He said, I am awaiting another lawful order for the legislature, especially the Senate, to prevent the destruction of the 17 years of hard-won peace in Liberia. The orders should be swift actions of condemnation and investigation into 1. What happened today, 29 July in Zwedru, the attack on visiting opposition political leaders, Honorable Alexander B. Cummings, chairman of the collaborating political parties and former presidential candidate of the ANC, and Honorable Yekeh Kolubah, member of the House of Representatives, by a parent state-organized and sponsored mob, and the deployment of the armed forces of Liberia to escort the peaceful leaders out of a town in their own country. Note that the army and police were not deployed, and the superintendent and other county officials physically present to help enforce the rights of the leaders to conduct their lawful business in Zwedru. Rather, it was for the leaders to be escorted out of Grand Gita County so that the mob could achieve their heinous and unlawful objective. 2 days earlier, the unconfirmed and therefore indefinite acting mayor of Fishtown denying the same visiting opposition leaders the use of the City Hall, a publicly funded building for their lawful meeting. And 3, few days later, the superintendent of Maryland County declared to an errant crowd of seditions that the army and police are for them to use anyhow, anywhere, and anytime for any purpose. Sir and Senate colleagues, all these developments are a call to armed violence among and a threat to peace in our country. For the sake of those of us like George Manawia and many innumerable Liberians who spent 40 years searching for what peace and searching for that peace, and those of our mainly West African brothers and sisters, ECOMOG and ECOMIL, and the internationals, UNIMIL, and more, who laid down their lives for Liberia to live, and the more than 250,000 deaths, we, the legislature, are duty bound to prevent the return to that ugly, shameful, and ignominious past. The Senate must begin to act now to save our country. Senator Cummings B. Wise.
Yep, powerful statement there from Senator Cummings B. Wise. He's a senator from River G County. He's from your county. What do you think?
Yeah, yes, definitely. The statement is in place. Senator Wise has worked for peace since his life. And basically, when the war was in the country, he served as advisor on the peace process, and he followed the peace process all the way to achieving peace in Liberia. So that statement is powerful and well in place. And the instances that he cited actually are very astonishing for county officials to engage into the acts that they are engaging into. Liberia is for everybody. Every president that gets to power serve the Liberian people, and when the term is over, another president gets in. We cannot personalize the presidency of Liberia. That's really wrong. The president of Liberia is to serve Liberia and the Liberian people. It's not for individual or specific political party. So really, what started gradually gained another level, and see what we saw in Grand Gila County, because people are communicating. So if you start seeing violent things, somebody might actualize the violence. So in Maryland, River G, and now Grand Gila, see what we're talking about. So people need to really, really learn lessons from what has happened. We have to be open-minded. You say you want democracy in your country. We cry so much for democracy when we have a one-party system. And now you have democracy, and it's going to bring war because other people support another candidate. I think that is wrong, and Liberians really need to reconsider their behaviors.
And then there's what I captured from the statement that the senator issue is the fact that the use of the military, according to him, was not so to protect these political leaders. It was so to achieve what he claimed to be the motive of the organizers and the executioners, meaning the children that were protesting, to just get them out. So they used the military to say, you know what, you get out of this place. We don't want you here. I found that so astounding.
Right, and I was coming to that as well. The use of military, because that's normally something like that is for the police to maintain law and order, and then the people can have their peaceful their meetings. I listened to Mr. Alexander Cummings, who said whatever they went for, their mission was accomplished, and so they had the meetings that they went there to have. So I hope they really did. But from what we saw on the tape, it's like the military, as precisely as the senator said, was there to just facilitate the exit, which fulfilled the mission of those people I will refer to as hooligans. So, and the military should not be called in these kind of areas, because that's how, or according to the senator also, that's how those kind of martial law, for the lack of a better description, start. Because when you bring in the military, when I was in my ROTC class at the University of Liberia, he said anytime you carry you ask the military to do something, you are simply asking them to kill, right? Because as a military person, every bullet you fire should have an effect. That means there should be a casualty. So I don't know why the military was calling, and then we didn't see them kind of maintaining law and order as they should, but either to escort these Liberians out of one county. I think that's bad, and we should do our best to avoid that.
And what it also suggests is that Yekeh Kolubah and Elizana Cummings and their team were the troublemakers, so they wanted them out. And so they agree with the thugs, the young people, who decided to throw stones. They agree with them and say, hey, you are the troublemaker, you get out of here. But on the other side, people will say, well, the people did the best they could to protect those leaders, and they left unharmed. So can we say anybody who makes that point has a good point? They left unharmed. with the bringing in of the military, right? So their safety was guaranteed.
Yeah, you can guarantee that safety, but they still have to meet. They still have to do what they were there to do.
Mm-hmm.
So if you interrupt that in any way, that they have to cut short. I don't know the details whether they actually ended the time they were supposed to spend there, but I think what you need to do, what they needed to do, was to make sure to provide that corridor for them to do whatever they wanted to do as peaceful Liberians who were there, to be like any other Liberian, travel throughout the length and breadth of your country without being intimidated.
Okay,
But let me bring in a few more callers because we are.
Mr. C, can I have a 3-minute closing statement so I can get off, please?
Yes, you can do that.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to extend my thanks and appreciation to my.
But Joe,
yes.
Joe,
Yeah.
we have a powerful statement here from the COP. You want me to read it? Maybe we'll find something in that
Okay.
close on. Yeah, let me do that quickly. Then we also have a statement from the COP. And it reads, the Council of Patriots strongly condemns today's acts of violence by the thugs acting under the sponsorship of state officials against members of the CPP in Zwedru, Grand Juda County. The COP calls on the government of Liberia, headed by dictator George Weah, to muster the courage to show leadership by condemning such action and launch a full-scale investigation into the gravely disturbing matter. The COP believes that this is a calculated attempt ahead of the special Senate elections to intimidate the opposition through violent tactics. This will not work. Meanwhile, the COP wants to make it categorically clear that any future acts of violence will be strongly resisted, and we shall defend ourselves by all means necessary. On other note, the COP strongly supports statement made by one of its own in the person of Senator Abraham Darros DeLong that there will be consequences if there are any attempts to rig the December 8, 2020 senatorial election. The COP will not sit by idly and allow our country to degenerate under the dictatorship that has shown clear ineptitude to govern the country. And this statement is signed by Henry Pedro Costa, chairman of COP. Joe, there you have it. You can close.
Yeah. I think on the show, you're one person who knows me very well. The role that I play in this whole CDC victory. But today, I have a peace of mind because the party politic in our country has damaged the country, Liberia. Now I see the COP coming out to condemn this act. Why is it that they never condemned previous act that was committed by member of the COP or the CPP? Because the head of the COP, which happened to be Heron Costa, is also a member of the CPP. So they're coming out now to condemn all of these things because it's happening to one of their own. Okay, and that's the party politics we're talking about, and that's the party politics that some of us have come to the conclusion that, look, it is not working for us. It has never worked for us, so we don't no longer want to be part of it. I would agree with some of the things he said in there. We don't want no violence in our country. We know where our country came from. Many of us stay traumatized from that civil war. Every time we see military or violent acts taking place, in our country, it put our minds back. So because of that, we do not. And in closing, I would say thank you. FOL, I know it was a last minute arrangement. for me to come on here today to give my own view on the situation that occurred today in Nimba County. I'm sorry, Grand Jide County rather. It was something that I never expected. I think it was totally wrong by the superintendent to organize this, because he knew that Alexander Cummings and Yekeh Kolubah were coming from the Maryland area, passing through to Grand Jide and then heading to Nimba County. He knew about it, but because he was not officially informed, that's the reason why he organized the youth of that county to do what they did today. And I do commend the legislative caucus of the Grand Jide for coming out to condemn that. I think that's what a good citizen should do. The issue with Yekeh Kolubah and President Weah should not give me, Mr. Jackson, the right to go out there and attack Yekeh Kolubah because he insulted President Weah. No, I think that is wrong. That's something that we shouldn't encourage. I know the Grand Jidians to be a good people, but yes, in every society organization, you have some bad apples. And it is those bad apples that we have to be very, very careful with, because they try to incite, violence. Because you go on social media, they all put in all kinds of comments to incite. And at no point, like I said, that Lofians will stop President Weah from going to Lofa. I was just responding to the letter by Professor Zavolo, where he was hailing the youth for being patriotic. And I said, well, if Yekeh Kolubah can go to and organize his group of youth in Lofa who will be patriotic to him too, and then we just want to make that clarity here so people can leave from here with different and wrong messages. So I want to say thank you for the opportunity. I will be available anytime you need my service. I will come on to talk politics. God bless you.
Thank you. Let me just give 30 seconds.
Jackson there.
Let me give 30 seconds to each of our callers so we can conclude this thing. Mr. Amos Joyce, you have 30 seconds. Your comments or question?
Yeah, thank you to your guests and things. So let me say this. What happened in Grand Jide is not an accidental incident. Looking Town, 2 hours ago was attacked, led by CDC. Danaville, people were attacked. Accra woman was attacked, led by Jefferson Kuti. The United States headquarters of Oro was attacked, led by CDC. Basso, the superintendent, said Yekeh Kolubah should not go there. Finally, last year, said Yekeh Kolubah should not go to Grand Jide. The superintendent of Grand Jide said that. So you can see the pattern. This is not an isolated incident. And Yekeh Kolubah, the Christmas party, is cause for attack. Government official, the Assistant Minister of Justice was present, videotaping. Today, the government has never come up with one finding or an arrest on Yekeh Kolubah. So what happened in Grand Jide? It was premeditated, it was planned. Because Father said it last year, the superintendent, the very superintendent, Father, he said it last year. He said they know when Yekeh Kolubah there. So what happened today was just what Father wanted, what the government wanted. And people are condemning the situation. Well, here's my take here. Condemning the situation that's not all. Until perpetrators are brought to justice, because it's not just insulting Yekeh Kolubah. Property was damaged. According to the news, a police officer was hurt. And let me say this. The superintendent of a county is the highest government officer there. When there is a violence, he takes in charge. He gives the police command. But nobody or never, he doesn't have to say, I'm arresting the police, but he can tell the commander. He gave the commander an instruction to control what is going on. And he said that they never did anything. If it was a real government, probably should have been fired by now. But I just want to leave the Liberian people with this note. And George Weah, last year, George Weah said that if anybody cussing, they will not walk the street of Monrovia. So this thing is being sanctioned by President Weah until we can see people being prosecuted. Other than that, I will hold George Weah responsible. His statement last year said all that anybody that insulting will not walk the street of Liberia. It was George Weah. So it's the playbook now today we are facing. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Josh. And I like the instances that you cited. Let's go to Mr. Benjamin Jonah. Benjamin, quickly, you have 45 seconds.
Wow, I just came in. Okay, well, this is what I want to say. You know, everything in Liberia, people keep taking sides, which is so wrong. While it is true that I condemn what happened in Liberia, that was absolutely wrong. But we also know that this government is not a good government. They are bad. But to always, every time, associate anything that happens directly to the president, I think that's a bad way of doing things. And here is why I am trying to bring us to this. Yekeh Kolubah went into most places in the southeast. None of these things happened. Why is it in Dresden was the only place that the president wanted him to have been attacked? I think that is a complete bogus. Now, another time we have been saying every time when the opposition sees something wrong for them to say it, they don't say it. Henry Costa burnt tires. He said nothing. George Weah himself, when he made reckless statements, the CDC said nothing. We got Milton Kejit on the telling us that he was involved in the corruption. The CPP said nothing. These two people, these two group of people, the CPP and CDC, they are not good for our people. All they are doing is that the both parties just keep backing them. The both of them are as wrong as everything, because anything that happens, they go into the various camps and they support each other. It's a shame to see Liberians backing any of these two group of people. There is no angels there. All of them are guilty of doing all of these evil things for our people. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Ben. Let's take our last caller for the night before Alex come in. That's Kesali Dobo.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair. Good evening to you, and Mr. Jar, and our lady in there. Good evening to all of you.
Go ahead, Kesali.
Yeah, you know what happened today in Grangela? Like almost every well-meaning Liberian has already gone ahead to condemn. So I wouldn't want to go on repeating what everybody said. But if you look at what happened today in Grangela, tells you that Grangela is divided. Grangela in itself is divided, and I can show you that this coming election to come, you will notice that CDC is not going to win Grangela like she's done before in the past. Take this my word. If you look at what happened today in Grangela is getting to be divided. Unlike before, where it was like almost 100%, elections from today and elections to come in the future. Take this, Grangela will have more opposition than what it has been in the past. It's not going to be just CDC. And I want all Liberians to just observe it and see. For the fact that those youth, some of them were very brave to have come up in the midst of their colleagues that were in the majority, tells you that things are changing and they will continue to change, and Grangela is not going to be like before. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kesali. So let's go to our panelist, Alice, and respond to the callers. And how do we move forward?
Well, what I see is Liberians need to be more tolerant in whatever they do when it comes to politics. We are not enemies. We are the same Liberians supporting different Liberians. And all these people we are supporting, they are good in a sense. We believe in them, that's why we support them. But we cannot continue to fight and go to the extent of hating each other because we don't like our other friends' candidates. They are all Liberians. They are all good Liberians. So we don't want to have war in our country. 2023 is coming. It's going to be a major showdown. If we continue to show these kind of behaviors, we might not have a good election. So please, I am appealing to Liberians to be tolerant to make sure that we accept the democracy that we say we're practicing in Liberia. We should make sure that we practice it well because it is not one party. Once you have multi-party democracy, you have to have the heart. To insult somebody is not a crime. It is not good, but it is not a crime to the extent that you want to kill that person. Yekeh Kolubah may have some profanity in his mouth, which is not really good.
Are you saying
but
may
it
have,
doesn't
or
worry.
are you saying may have? He does have, right?
Listen to what I'm saying.
No,
He
you said
may
he
have
may have, so
profanity,
you're not
but
sure of that.
can you listen to me? Let me learn.
Okay.
I say he may have profanity, but it doesn't warrant the act of trying to stone him. That's what I'm saying. So I'm appealing to people, let's deal with the issues. Yekeh can even deal with the issue without insulting the president. But we should not fight because somebody insults. And I think Liberians can move forward in a better direction if we continue to, accept each other's fault and tolerate each other.
All right, Mr. Jai, we're going to roll in our final video
Aaron
here,
Costa
and
and
this
and
one
and
is
and
from
and, and
Darrell's
other courageous people stand up to say, hey, this is wrong. Then you can jump down their throats because you're used to suffering, you're used to poverty.
All right, are we have okay.
Look at the people CDC used to demonstrate against. All of them back. That the same people, you see how you suffer with something for 12 years. You caused people, you denigrated them, you practically hated them for one George Weah Bennett. George Weah became president on your back. And the same people who you believe took the country downhill on Ellen Johnson Sirleaf are the same people George Weah giving you, and you happy to talk about them. Wilson Garfinley. Wilson Garfinley was senator throughout from 2006 to 2014. 9 years. CDC causing every day. Every day CDC causing. Today, they say they will die with Wilson Garfinley. Yeah, they will die with Wilson Garfinley because he went down there politically. I think what they did on Yekeh today, well, thank God, we will be going to some parts of this country soon. We will be going to some parts of this country soon to politically campaign. The thing they call free, fair, transparent election means everybody must be given the space to move freely, so long he or she is not violating the law. I think they did it Yekeh today. We thank God they did it to Yekeh and Mr. Cummings to tell us that, hey, you all need to go in your room to plan, prepare for counter. You know when they take rock, rock, when they throw rock at you and you're running, the rock can follow you. When they throw rock at you, you throw rock at them, everybody can go find a way to dodge it. Let me repeat. When the people pick your rock and you're running, by the time the rock can follow you, by the time they can get strength to throw it. When they pick it up and you pick it up, they pick it up the rock, you pick it up yours. They say, oh, when they throw you.
All right, folks, that was Senator Abraham Darros DeLong, who claims to be the light, who other people believe to be the light. And maybe he's the light, and I'm not here to tell you whether or not he's not. He was making a statement here. We didn't play the entire clip, but the part I wanted you to get because of time we couldn't get to was when he said, when people are throwing stones at you and you are running, they will continue to throw that stone until they chase you out. But when the person throw a stone and you pick up yours and you throw it, the person will come to a staff say, oh, so the person has the same ability that I have. And there's a possibility that it will stop. Further in the videos, he said, so the day we go anywhere and they throw stone at us, I will authorize my people, my supporters, to throw stones too. And I brought this part in to say that the statement that two wrong cannot make a right is also true. Whether Mr. Dillon was speaking out of frustration is other person's decision to make. That does not justify that statement. That when somebody is doing something wrong that you know to be wrong, and you are saying, this is wrong, continue to say that is wrong. But don't join the person in that very wrong act. And that is a problem. But that's the statement that Senator Darius Dillon was making, that he too will authorize his supporters to throw stone if stone should be thrown at them. And he was saying he will be going around the country. Does it mean that we're going to see that happening? And the question continues to come around. What kind of Liberia do we want if we keep doing the same thing over and over? We have to close, being a little over an hour, 2 hours now. So let me come to Mr. Jah. What do you have to say?
Right.
And then we can get to our panelists for closing statement.
Right. That the statement by Honorable Dillon, that's too is reckless, and we cannot continue on to say, for instance, the Grand Gideon youth, they were, or the residents in Zwedru who did the act of violence, they were frustrated or they were mad with Yekeh. We also cannot say, oh, Yekeh was provoked, that's why he did this, he did that. The law is the law, and we must obey the law. We must go by. We must. I think Mr. Dillon made another irresponsible statement the other day when he talked about, possible war. I think you remember that statement, Mr.
Yeah, this is the exact what he said. He said, if the election will be rigged, if the CDC play with the results of the election, the presidency or the CDC government will come to an abrupt end. That's what was
right. And those kind of stuff. So that's a pattern. Yes. I heard you say maybe it was out of frustration. There should be no level of frustration that will make a lawmaker to make reckless statements that have the propensity to cause chaos. Okay, those of us who youth were destroyed by the senseless war that benefited just a few group of hyenas and warmongers and brutes. We should not hear those statements from anybody whatsoever. Being it Yekeh Kolubah, being it Darius Dillon, being it youth or residents in Grand Gideon County. So Mr. Dillon should stop that. Alice.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. The statement is very reckless, and if it is a pattern, then I'm disappointed because Darius Dillon has a lot of people that believe in him. People that look at him to be representing the new generation and hope for Liberia. So you cannot make Liberians to think backwards. The war has destroyed a lot of people. It affected all of our youthful days. The war had a negative impact on a lot of us. I don't know where was he during the war, but anybody who tasted war in Liberia, who was the victim, not beneficiary in Liberia, will not sit down and want another war in Liberia. So they don't really need to stop. We need to foster peace in Liberia. Two wrongs cannot make one right. If Yekeh went to Grand Gideon and they tried to throw stones, that should not give anybody right to throw stones at anybody from Grand Gideon or anybody who supports President Weah or President Weah himself. Liberians need to follow the path of decency and start going to the dark days. So my closing statement would be, we need to tolerate each other. We need to build Liberia for the good of Liberians. We need to educate our youth so that they will perform better. Election is coming. We need to educate them. And I hope FOL will be leading the way so that we can have programs that will talk directly to the youth. because they are the future generation and they have the voting power. If they don't understand democracy, we're going to have problems. Because once they know that their party doesn't win or their candidate, somebody said anything to their candidate, they're going to resort to war. Because some of them were born in the war and the only language they understand is violence. And we need to make them to deviate from that and follow the right path. And our leaders should not be the ones to be warmongers. We need to discourage that. We need to show example. Whether it's Yekeh, Kolubah, or whoever, you need to show example of people to people that follow you. You can't be a lawmaker and always be spouting out some negative words. You can make your comment. You can criticize somebody before abusing them. We need to give some respect to the president. But again, I want people to understand that it is not a crime when you insult the president, and that should not give anybody any authority to want to kill somebody because they insult President Weir. Thank you.
All right. On that note, folks in cyberspace, we are at the end of our broadcast here. Before I can leave something with you, and you know I always leave something juicy with you, let me remind you that there's a country called Liberia, and that country has been electing leaders since 1847. It's been 173 years now. Do you trust your leaders? The other day I was on Facebook, I saw pictures. I want my father to come to Monrovia, and my dad told me, son, there's no car. We have to get on the motorbike. And I told him, Daddy, what are you talking about? He said, son, I have to take a motorbike. Even though I'm sick, I have to take a motorbike. And that is why I didn't want to go to Monrovia, son, but you insist as you go to Monrovia. I have to be on a motorbike with your mom to go through Buchanan before we can get a car. Why am I telling you this? When we elect leaders, we expect them to build the roads. And you continue to elect these people. They are not building the roads. And you, the young people, continue to fight for these people, insert orders for these leaders. And what do you get? Your power is your vote. You know, I always leave you with something juicy. Young people of Liberia, that vote, you want to make it pricey. It is your democratic value. When you sell it for a bag of rice for a few dollars, you are robbing yourself of the future. You are taking away that good road that you want, that good school that you want. You are selling it for peanuts. I see bag of rice floating all around Monrovia, as though the politics of rice have gotten us somewhere. And still, Monrovia has become the distribution ground for political rice. When will this come to an end? Hey, my father is on his way to Monrovia, but he's on a motorbike because my elected officials are not doing their job. Darius Dillon said these words today. He referred to the president as a dictator. He's a child. He's bad for Liberia. Opposition people, good language. They will celebrate it. But when the people on the other side say that, they are mad. So we have two groups of people who are trying to tell us how to live in a decent country, exhibiting bad behaviors. So there's no hope for Liberia. Dodweken, I remember, is that place Deneja came from. I don't know when he will go back there. But when he returns, I can guarantee him he will see that little bathroom where they hang that lapper to take back. That's why he will see. Then I'm sorry, no hope for Liberia. Your turn.
There will be hope.
I think there is hope, and the hope is
hope. There will be hope.
There is hope, and there is the hope in the young people, but is the hope is dissipating, and we at Focus on Liberia, we need to do our best, because look, this is the picture, right? Politicians are not all that smart people we think they are. We have the technocrats. We have people that we're supposed to be celebrating, but we celebrate politicians. Their job is easy. What they do, keep the young people down, keep people more ignorant so that you can fool them and they follow you. They're not going to tell you about technology. They're not going to tell you about the new putting people on the moon. What they tell you is the next person is worse and I'm better. Elect me. And the young people swallow that and keep voting for these people over and over, putting their own lives on the line so that somebody can become leader and give you something. We are requesting for peanuts. They are requesting for people that will feed them just today, neglecting the future. And they are the future. Politicians want to keep people ignorant so that they can manipulate them and they vote for them. That's their goal. And what do we see? How many people will watch something that will benefit them tomorrow? We are all watching things that will feed our political or appetite. Everyone wants to go to the channel or a podcast that's going to celebrate their political laws and godfathers. Nobody wants to listen to what is balanced, to what is fair, to what is true, to what is just, and what can benefit their lives tomorrow. But that's the battle we are here to fight. Even if nobody watches what we do here at Focus on Liberia, we'll keep doing it because we are writing a book. If you don't read it today, tomorrow you're going to read it and it's going to benefit. That's how I want to leave it.
On that note, folks, we want to thank you so dearly much for following what we do here. Never forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel where we upload all of our videos. And also like our Facebook page so that when we are live, you get that notification and you don't have to struggle to get the education that we provide here. I have a song for you. It's called We Are All Liberians, and Liberia is that one home. In the good words of Darius DeLong, you can never be deported from that country. Listen to that song for a moment. Enjoy your day. Don't forget, Corona is around. Bye-bye.
We are Liberians.